Hello guys, welcome back to another exciting video. Today I'm here with Blake and Gabe and a giant submarine. Now, we're going to be taking a look at this with these guys who built it. Oh, did you guys build it? Both of you built it, right?
That is correct.
Yes, we did.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did. Okay. And what is the name of this submarine?
USS-R20 SS-97.
And it is at the top of the workshop right now. Now, I could go ahead and, try to run this submarine by myself, push a random button here and there, maybe get people upset because I don't know what I'm doing, maybe even look at the instructions, but ignore them. But today, we're going to go through the submarine with these guys, and they're going to show you the right way to do it. And are there instructions on the page as well?
Yes, there are.
Yes, there is. There's a whole manual at the end of the photos, as well as just a quick start guide at the in the description.
All right, so you're going to be able to look at this video and read instructions if you want details on how to use a sub. But let's get into it. All right, guys, go ahead and walk me through the deck here. What do you have on the deck?
First off, we've got their 3-inch 50 deck gun.
All right, and is this like manually fed or how's this fed?
The side manually, yes. And there is a little recoil system I'd like to show off here too. It's a pretty fancy little thing. Nice amount of detail we put into it, as much as we could, as much as Stormworks would allow anyway. So, yeah, I'll get some ammo.
Oh, so there's your ammo. Okay, down there. Okay.
So we're gonna hit the breach in the back here. We're going to come on, if I can load it. Come over to the side here. Oh, getting a little bit of lag, but that's fine. Loaded, and I'm going to hit the breach in the back. There you go. Now you should be able to fire. Boom. There's one round. Another round loaded. Breach is hit.
Okay, so you do have a little recoil on it. That's very
Loaded
cool.
and breach.
Right.
Yep, just
Why did that
nice
thing just
little
pop
bit.
up?
So that would be the, it's like a little stand for the deck gun, so have it in forward ready position.
Is that
That way if you're
automatic?
on the surface steaming or something.
It is
yeah,
hotkey to
can
button
set it-
4.
Oh, okay.
Hotkey button. There you go.
Okay.
That way, if you want to put it down or stow it in its normal stowage area, you can do that.
All right. So when you're done with the deck gun, do you have to do anything? Put it back in the right direction, or does it automatically spin around?
You can put the deck gun in its original stow position, which is facing towards the conning tower, or use the forward-facing gun mount, like we have demonstrating now.
Oh, okay.
Otherwise, it's ready to dive.
And does it lock into place, or does it? You have to unlock it or lock it, or no? You can just leave it where you left it.
Nope, it just kind of sits in there.
Oh, okay, cool. All right. So is there any other things on the deck? Is there something in the back?
Yes, there's some stuff in the back that we can show you.
Okay.
Next to the engine room access hatch, there's also,
Someone's in the water.
a refueling and recharging station back here.
Oh, okay. That's something I never add to any of the builds because no one ever does that. They just spawn them again.
Well, if you ever have the gumption to recharge or refuel the boat, you can do it from here.
Okay, I have a question for you. This is not a U-boat, right? This is not a German submarine. This is American?
No, it is not. It's actually called an R-boat, believe it or not.
This was an American model built in 1919 and used up until World War II.
It was
periods of inactivity, mind you, but
built 1918.
Okay.
Correction there.
So,
No.
this has a ladder up here, but it's not, really easy to get in here. How
Yeah,
did they actually
so-
get into the boat?
Into
you
the
would
boat.
either use the torpedo room access hatch or the engine room access hatch.
Okay, so there's
Yes,
one in the
typically
front,
you
one in the
would
back,
not
right?
enter the sub via
Right.
yeah, typically you would not enter the sub via the conning tower. That's a very interesting thing I always see people go for. And again, I thought the exact same thing until I started really working on this and realizing, hey, that's not how they would have done it.
There's even an engine room. There's a motor room escape hatch back here that was added in the early 40s on this particular boat.
Oh, that's another? Okay.
That was not originally built with it.
All right, so where does our tour start? At the back?
We can
So-
start at the front and work our way
we,
back.
we get started at the front and work our way back. I think that's our best bet.
Alrighty.
This is the forward hatch here. Forward.
I feel like I should
Hatch.
put earphones on with a little Walkman and walk around the sub, and it gives me a tour, a talking tour. All right,
You
so
would hear our voice.
we jump
Yes.
down here. We are in the front of the submarine now, and it looks like we have how many torpedoes do we have in the front? Actually, what's available?
There are 8
So there's
total.
8
4 on the
total, yeah.
hatches and 4 on reserve.
Okay, so I see 4 in the hatches and then 4 back here, right? Yeah. Okay, cool. So do you fire... Okay, I don't know how this works. Do you fire the torpedoes from the front, or can you do it from, like, the what you call it, the periscope.
Control room.
No, everything is
Nope.
fired right here from the torpedo room.
Okay.
Though we are considering for a multiplayer version adding torpedo room controls.
Okay, so there was some guy yelling at us, "Fire the torpedo!" and we'd have to fire it from up here.
That is correct.
Ah.
This
Yes,
is
sir.
definitely a teamwork effort.
Teamwork.
Yeah.
Okay.
Up here,
Can-
between the torpedo tubes, you've got a manual bilge pump, your emergency lighting, and then your torpedo controls and hatch openings are here. The cranks here open the torpedo room, the torpedo hatches, muzzle hatches, and you'll be able to fire them once those are open. A little light comes on when those are open, so you know which torpedoes are ready to go.
Okay. And I assume that's a little flooding dial right there, 210 right now. Not flooded.
Yes.
Yes.
All right, Blake. So now we're in the next room. What is this room?
This is the forward battery room department, also known as cruise quarters in this mod.
Did you say battery room?
Yes. So these rooms were actually named the battery rooms. This and the galley were the forward and after battery compartments, because onto the deck on these two compartments are the batteries for the submarine. These compartments were named after their primary function, and the function here would be the batteries.
But we can't get to the battery, right? We can't. There's no.
Not in this.
No. Okay. Just checking.
They are under here, but you can't access them,
Got it.
unfortunately.
Okay. What is this little section here? What is this?
This is the officers' quarters, aka captain's quarters, XO quarters.
Oh, they're right next to these guys, huh?
These are the two leads, and the curtain would separate them from the rest of the crew.
And how
They would
many
have a little-
crewmen are supposed to be on this thing?
Depends on the loadout. That could range. Typically, you would have 18 guys in the torpedo room. I think the full crew complement was somewhere around 50.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. This does not look like there's enough
Actually,
room.
No. And we had to
If you want to see something,
cut beds out of this so that it would function a little better.
Oh, okay, that's good. Okay. These guys
But
were
there
sleeping
are-
together.
But there are 4 racks under the torpedoes that you can't see until you reload. So
Okay, that makes sense too. All right, cool.
that's what I was about to mention there. So
All right, so this is the little thing here. You got nice little details here. Call of the Wild by
books on the
Jack
shelf.
Landon? What?
look at the books on the shelves over here.
Didn't we start burning that book? I forget. Let's see. Maintenance, logbooks. All right, here we go. What's the next room we're going into?
all right, so this right here is kind of the heart of the thing. This is the main control room, and we've got all sorts of gizmos and gadgets here that we'll have to go over. It looks imposing at first, but I can assure you, once you sort of understand how everything works, it's not. Why don't we start from the front here?
All right, I have a
So-
question
Oh,
for
go
you
ahead.
guys that everyone's going to ask when they walk into this room.
That is.
Is every button switch on this submarine functional, or is there any decorations?
We were shooting
So
for
everything
functionality.
you see, yeah, everything that you see in here that is an interactable switch or button does do something.
Okay, just
So-
checking.
Yes. That's why I said it's a little on the imposing side at first until you start to really understand the way the submarine works and understand each individual system.
All right. So let's go ahead and just walk me through like the different sections, not how they work, just what they are, and then we'll move on to the next room, and then we'll come back here and get this submarine moving at some point. All right. So what am I
All right,
looking at
we'll
on this
go-
side?
Right here up front, this is the rudder helm that controls your rudders, of course. You have a bearing there and your speed right there in knots. You also have a collision alarm and a general alarm just for sounding, whatever have you, any haptics.
Okay. Are those manual or
Over
are those
here-
like automatic? Does it like there's a ship in front of you? Does it go off, or you have to do it yourself?
Nope, you have to do it yourself.
Okay.
Everything in here is manual.
So if we're not
Start.
watching for a collision, we're gonna crash. There's no automatic stuff. Oh no.
Not at
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, so here we have a couple more. We have the trim or not the trim manifold, but the manifold that has a lot of the different ballasts and trim, how much water they have in it, just as a quick reference there, as well as your air flask. There's an air flask meter here and then one over here, but we'll get to that one later. So that's just kind of like a general little thing there. It's a nice little thing to look at if you need a point of reference or something.
Okay.
And then Underneath here, you have the auxiliary. Here, let me get out of your way here. You've got the auxiliary fill level, and then your low pressure as well as trim manifold over here. So you can move water from the, well, we'll get into this a little bit later, but you can move water around via the trim tanks and auxiliary tanks. And then you have a little panel above that. It's just like a general little engine display. It shows you your temperatures as well as your fuel.
All
Now,
right.
coming around over here, you have the bow planes as well as the stern planes. And this, you could manually manipulate the bow and stern planes with this. And then between here, this is a big one that I want a lot of people to take note of. You have the dive planes, and then you have the allow depth set. Now, if you want to dive this thing, all you have to do is go to depth set, a little keypad over there, put your number in, allow dive planes, and then allow depth set. That's one that should be noted, otherwise you won't really be able to dive too well.
Interesting.
Oh,
Okay. You have to show
and
us that. How
Here's
that
something a
works.
lot of people will recognize. You will. Don't you worry
Okay. What's that?
about that. And then down here, there's the little dive alarm. That's your little klaxon there.
Mhm.
So here I'll let Blake interject into this. Blake, why don't you tell us the proper codes for that? Just as a cool little tidbit.
We'll deal with that when we do the dive.
We'll deal with that later. Okay.
Okay. What's this hatch
Alright,
go
and then
to?
we have the this hatch that goes to the void tank. Now there's a bilge pump down there actually. So if you want to pop down there and then pop back up,
Will I
just
be able to
take a
get
quick
out?
look,
I hate
feel
going
free.
down in holes. Ah! Okay. I'm down the
You
hole.
can get out.
Okay.
So behind here is, if you duck down, there's
Uh-huh.
a bilge pump. It's an automatic bilge pump for the void tank.
Oh, we got
A lot of people miss that.
miss it as far as what? What do they miss? Turning
if
it
you
on?
If you look, yeah. Can you turn on that forward bilge pump?
Okay.
A lot of people can't see that or don't see that and have a lot of questions about it that I've seen in the comments.
Okay, wait. What is this for? Like, I know it's a bilge pump, but is it for if the sub is sinking, or is it for general diving and going back up?
Oh no, that is just to dewater. If you get water in the submarine, that'll help take it out.
Okay, and they actually had it down under the floor like this for reals?
I'm actually not sure because there's not a lot of
Oh,
not
okay.
a lot of,
A lot of documentation.
Okay, so why did you
documentation
choose to put it down here? Just out of curiosity?
it's the lowest point of the boat.
The switch.
Oh, the switch? I don't know why I put it there.
Okay. Just checking.
So
Just think it's a funny
here's
place.
something else.
Like, because like when we're
I'll
playing
interject
sub hunts,
that.
I'll freak out, and looking for buttons is not my
Yeah.
thing. So I want like a big flashing button. Bilge pump, bilge pump.
Oh yes,
Yes.
Bilge pump,
that is
bilge.
definitely not.
What are these?
So
wanna-
moving,
Oh, wow.
So these are called
Those-
Kingston valves.
yes, those are the Kingston levers. Basically, if once you pull a Kingston lever, it has a corresponding door which opens the side of the submarine to let water in.
Huh?
And we'll get into the Kingstons, the use of these a little bit later, because there's some big no-nos and some do's here that you're gonna want to do to get her diving. Basically, what I'll say is you don't want to activate the aft ones. The aft ones, if you're underwater, they will point you straight up. So only do that if you need a quick get to the surface.
Okay.
Or if you're counterbalancing.
All right. What?
They're
Black. What's
balancing.
what's the black one do? It's auxiliary, but what's it do?
Black one is for the auxiliary tank. So there's
Oh, auxiliary tank. Okay, gotcha.
yeah,
Okay.
it's another water tank. That one's more the you can move trim back and forth via that tank.
In
Ooh.
real life,
Oh.
they had it wrapped in a black tape to designate that Kingston valve was for the auxiliary tank.
Okay.
So we painted it black.
And it's worth noting these actually move, right? You've done some fancy stuff here.
Yes, they all move. They actually.
Yes.
So how much XML editing
You'll
did
see
you
that
do? A
in the
lot
video
or
guides.
medium, a little? What would you say?
We started out with no XML editing, but as I became more of a stickler for details, we started doing a lot more, especially with the aft and the bow, and these pipes overhead are all XML edited.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Another question for you.
So there's not.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, question I have
What's your
on
question?
the U-boats. They had like 2 periscopes. Does this have 2 periscopes or just 1?
It has two.
It has 2.
Yes, it does.
And in an original configuration, it had 3, but they removed it because it was not very functional.
Okay, so there's one up here. Oh, okay.
Yes.
Take them up there in the conning tower.
Oops.
And that one is automatic extending and retracting if you press the button.
So
up
the
there, just for ease of
observation
use.
one is in the bottom, right? This is observation bottom?
Yes, this is the main scope. The other one is what we would call the attack scope.
Gotcha. Okay. Very cool.
Though I'd recommend using the main
Oh,
for
we'll see.
everything.
Yeah. I was gonna say I'd recommend the main.
Okay. We
Has
have-
more functionality.
little
over
room
the
here.
attack scope. The attack scope is basically there just to be small.
And there is the interface that everyone is familiar with. I believe it's from, what was that guy's name? I cannot remember his name right now. But he made the original hydrophone interface. So is this a custom code work, or is that using the same hydrophone?
It's the same code. There were liberties taken with its functionality.
Okay.
Gone in and
Yes.
adjusted things a bit. And speaking of XML work, the box that this is wrapping the screen is also XML.
Ah, okay. All right. So,
We will give you a full tutorial on how this works when we do our demonstration.
okay. And on the right
Radio
side,
is also-
it's a radio.
So-
Is that a like a voice radio, or what is this on my right side here?
It's voice and Morse.
Okay.
It's a voice radio.
This will set a Morse code and a voice code, and it is fully functional as well.
All right. Cool. And this is right off the
And
side here.
I should note that to use that radio, back here there's a little key button to raise and lower the radio mast. So it does have a separate radio mast.
Ah, okay. Gotcha. That makes sense.
And there's one more thing I'd like to, in this control room at least, that I'd like to, or two more things that I'd like to just point out quick before we get started and everything and keep going on with the sub. You have the electric throttle control right here, which we'll demonstrate how to use here in a bit. It's a big important one. That's how you actually move the whole boat. And then over here we have the air manifold. So this is where you can blow your air out of the or water out of the tanks using your air, and as well as up here there's another air bank pressure indicator.
Okay. Very cool.
So the thing about the simulated air valves on these is that when you run out of air pressure, you lose the ability to pump water out of the bilge and out of the tanks.
Okay. And where's
So
air
it is
pressure shown
important-
at? Is that the top here? Air bank
Yes,
pressure?
that air bank pressure.
Yeah. Gotcha.
When that goes to zero,
That's the top.
you can no longer blow your tank.
There's a second one over on that.
Okay. So then what do you do? Are you just screwed?
Well, if you can get to the surface and get the engines running, you can recharge the tanks, but we'll get to that in a minute.
Okay.
Yes, then you can.
Yeah.
Yes, we will, and we'll demonstrate the low pressure blower as well. Because if you run out of air, you can turn on what's called the low pressure blower. But like I said, we'll demonstrate that later.
All right. And where
This
am
is-
I at now?
This is the after battery compartment, also known as the cruise mess. And the actual configuration, they also hung hammocks in here for people to sleep, but we did not do that because it was cluttered enough.
Well, they haven't done the hammock hammock update yet. We're still waiting for the hammock update. Mm-hmm.
Ah, yes. This is the ship's electrical
years later.
panels. These lights, as if you read them, each have a label on them with such as L3 forward battery room lights, T2 torpedo room drain pumps, IC panels, and if you look at the panels in the ship, like the one next to you that says P4,
Uh-huh.
those have corresponding breakers attached to them that will run each individual subsystem on the boat. So for P4, for instance,
Mm-hmm.
you have the stove control, battery ventilation, and I think one more.
Are there like hidden something underneath here? Like hidden buttons or something?
Oh, and the refrigeration. Yes, there are. There are XML breakers that you can't see that you can flip on and off.
Okay, gotcha.
You've got your distribution panel here and a
Right,
gauge
so if
that
I
will tell
click
you
one
how
of these,
long
what happens? Does it show on here or something?
the breaker will
Oh,
go
look,
off and
went
the
off.
light will show.
Yeah, I broke it. This is easy. I could break this all day long. Okay,
So this panel will tell you
There you
what's
go.
off
Yeah,
in your
hidden-
boat. So if you get hit by the MiG,
Those are
you'll
all
know
over
how-
the
you have
sub.
to turn back on.
okay, cool. Okay, that's really nice. I don't think I've seen that before in a build. That's pretty cool.
One of many. Another thing we've got over here is the
Out of a lot
stove.
of unique systems for this.
Oh, look at that. There's water, which is like steam coming off this thing.
Yeah. And when the food is ready, you'll hear the bell, and then
Yeah.
I'll show you something else that is unique to this sub.
When the food is ready, you will hear a bell.
hmm
A bell.
So right now it's cooking. So it is going through a timer sequence right now.
What are we cooking?
And after about 2 minutes, well, let's see what's on the menu right there.
Let's see. We have meatloaf, green beans, and mashed potatoes. Okay.
Well balanced meal.
Yeah, I like how you kind of offset the. I don't know if you did it on purpose. Did you offset these things on purpose so you could see the fire?
Yeah.
Okay, just checking. Didn't know if it was on purpose or an accident. Okay.
If you cover them up, it kind of removes the visuals.
Yeah, just checking.
Yeah.
You got more books over here, next to the battery ventilation, and yeah, and a working checkerboard.
Was this
Thanks
from
to Mr. Lennon?
Yeah, Mr. Lennon. I was gonna say it looks familiar.
Yes.
Didn't do the chess, huh?
Well, it's checkers.
Okay.
This is the crew's mess, not the officers' quarters.
I like checkers.
Gotcha. Am I not waiting for dinner? We want to move on.
We'll come back.
It's not gonna
It's 2.5
burn.
minutes. Oh no.
We'll come back.
All
We'll
right.
come
I
back.
don't want it to burn.
No.
You know.
No.
Okay.
So,
This looks like the exercise room, right? Is this the exercise
These
room?
are
Is this the workout?
this is the diesel engine room. These are
The
Nelsco Model
sweatshop.
6 EB14 440s. They were built for the R-class boats, and these ones actually worked, unlike the S-class, which were notoriously bad.
Okay, it looks like there's a lot of decorative stuff. Does it move?
Oh yes, it does,
Oh.
and we will show you that one once we get her started.
How many pivots
We're
would you
almost
say are
through
on
it.
this
So-
boat?
See.
Everybody knows I hate
Now-
pivots.
I would like to say,
About 6.
You lie, Blake.
Let's see, 2 for the gun,
there's not that many pivots.
2 for each engine,
I'm thinking 22.
Two.
22.
4 for each engine. No, 2 for each engine.
22. It's 22, isn't it?
Yeah, 2 feet. Engine.
Okay. What is this? Generator, engine, battery? What is this?
This is the motor room. So this would be your electric motors, your electric generators, your high pressure air compressors, your workshop, and your access to the steering gear, along with a lathe, a drill press. Oh, dinner's ready.
Oh, I hear it all the way from over here. Wow. Okay. Hey, doesn't this work? This moves, doesn't it? The drill press thing?
Actually, no, we disabled that.
You disabled it. Oh, that's the whole reason I was doing this video. I just wanted to see this part work. Oh,
There's an extra pivot there.
Yeah, we got rid of
Drill
one of your
press.
extra loathed pivot.
I know, to cut down, we got rid of it to cut down on pivots.
Oh, wow. Okay. Wow, that was the only
But,
one feature
like
I wanted
was
to
saying,
keep.
So there is a difference between a motor room and an engine room.
Oh, and by the way, behind you is another aft bilge pump.
Oh,
right
underneath
here.
the floor? Oh, underneath the floor. Okay, cool. And the key is down there to turn it on.
No, it's right next to you, right next to your knee.
Oh, okay. So why is this one on top? Blake? What the heck, man?
Well, that one was in the drawing, so I knew where to put that.
Oh, okay. All
Yes.
right, so we're going back to the kitchen.
That's a little.
Where are you going, Blake?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, have a seat anywhere you want to sit.
Anywhere. Okay. It's not like by seniority over here.
Oh, it is. Over by the coffee maker is the CPO chairs.
Oh, okay.
That'd be the chief petty officer.
So if I'm a private or what?
Private.
What are you in a? What are you when you're lower class or whatever?
Petty officer, seaman, and chief.
Okay.
Not in that order.
So I'm a private seaman. Is that right?
Yeah. So if you look at the table in front of you,
Whoa!
you'll see
What
that you
the
have food.
heck? What the?
I'll join you.
What the heck?
So as long as
sit
the
right
food
over
has
here
been
as well.
cooked,
Wait, what
you will be able to.
Is this a monitor? What is this? How does this work?
Yes. No, they're paint blocks.
Wait, these are paint blocks?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Wait, if I get up, it goes away. If I sit down,
Yes.
it's back. Okay, how do I eat it? Do I click on it or something?
I have a add-on that I'm working on that you will be able to eat and track food and hunger, and you can have the coffee over there, and you can drink out of the sink if you want to, and
Okay.
that'll be a whole thing.
But there is
it's
like
not-
a eat button here or something.
Yes, I added those for testing when I was working.
Oh,
on
so, okay, so it
the
doesn't. Okay, coffee.
For
You
the
say
mod.
coffee? Where's the coffee?
Coffee's over here next to the coffee maker.
Right there.
Oh, look at that. And you're gonna have like
Big
a
old coffee
functional
pot.
coffee maker thing?
Yeah.
And how does that going to work? I ask.
I will show you one of these days when I feel like I've worked the bugs out of the add-on.
Okay. All right, cool. Very cool. Is this do anything, or is this just like a picture?
Yes.
Oh, the thing behind you?
Watch quarter station bill?
Oh yeah, that was that's where you would go to learn what watches you're supposed to stand.
Oh, okay.
And where you're sleeping.
All right, that would light
They're
up
on
or
every
something.
they're on every Navy ship.
Okay, cool.
Oh no, that's just paper. And not to leave the officers out, Endo. Come this way.
All right, okay. Mm-hmm.
Have a seat at the officers' table.
Yes.
Okay.
Have some tea there, Endo?
Oh, look at that. Get
And
food.
you can see instead of eat, it's drink tea and dine.
Wait, are we British or what?
Got your silver utensils and silver plate.
It shouldn't be drinking
Just
tea
getting
only for
lavish with
British.
it now.
Like,
Come on.
Like Frantic Maddie would be drinking tea. Let's drink the tea, Maddie. Okay, sorry. All right, very cool. So we've got a lot of stuff going from the front of the submarine all the way to the back of the submarine. We have a lot of rooms, a lot of details. And now I ask, as a new player coming in after downloading this beautiful creation from the workshop, how do I get this thing started?
Well, let's get on that in the engine room.
Alrighty. All right. So I come in here and I see nothing. There's no like red button that says start.
Oh, no, there's no red button, but there are some red switches, and we'll start with those over here. So you've
okay.
got the cooling system.
Cooling
You've got
system.
the air pumps.
Air pumps.
You've got the exhaust pumps.
Exhaust.
You've got the fuel pumps. And you've got your master battery isolation for the engines.
All right. So note to self, flip all the switches. Got it.
Flip all the switches. Then you'll see this
That's
light
the
blinking
button.
here.
Yeah, that's another-
to let you know that we are low on oil in the motor.
And then
So
I
starting
would
procedure-
probably just go ahead and uninstall after that. Because I have no clue what to do now.
Well, let me teach you.
All right. Okay.
You got your
I'd like to add real
pre-lubrication.
quick before we continue.
Yes.
I'd like to add that a lot of people, from what I've noticed so far, forget about that battery isolation. That battery isolation is necessary for starting the sub.
Oh, maybe that's hard to see when they're looking at the little.
That is because we'll get into this a little bit later, but there's clutches in the back that you have to engage and disengage from the generators, and that could possibly prevent the engine from starting. And you need to allow that isolation in order to be able to activate those clutches. But I digress. Go ahead, Blake.
Long story short, flip all the switches.
Okay.
All right. So
Yes,
then
flip off the switches.
So we're going to start by pre-lubrication hand pump. So in
Oh.
a real
There's a
diesel engine, you would do that.
Yeah.
And
Is there
of
something
course,
we
you'd
look
rotate
at?
the engine. So you see that the light went off.
Okay, the light goes off. Okay. So pump
And
to
then
the
we'll
light
take
goes
the
off.
throttle. Yeah.
Okay.
Increase your throttle.
Increase.
And then down here at the bottom, you've got what we call starting air. Now these old diesels were started with compressed air.
Wait, down to
Force
bottom where?
sensor.
I'm sorry, where am I looking?
The white valve
Okay, starting
is
air
the starting
closed.
air.
Okay. Turn that on.
Right there. I will add that I have that outlined in a section of the manual, in case
Okay.
anybody gets confused.
So wait, did you close it again?
Yes.
Okay.
Because you would only use the pressurized air on these engines to get it started, and you would re-isolate the air. To shut it off, you can open that valve again, and the engine will stop.
Okay, wait. Right now the engine's off, right?
No, right now the engine is on.
Do you guys hear anything?
Oh yeah.
Yep.
You
Really?
can check up on the gauge board
Look
above
back
the
up
engine,
here.
and you can see that the engine RPMs are on, and the temperature gauge is going up.
Huh. Why don't I hear anything?
But-
And
What happened?
it might just be
My
odd. It might just be your side then.
my sound is on, but I don't hear anything. Okay, now I hear it starting.
There's something you like.
Now it's starting. Now it started.
Can you hear it?
Yeah.
You can hear it now?
So what is that, a sync or something? What happened?
I don't know.
So that now it's
weird.
running, but it was running for you guys a while ago?
Yeah, it was running for
Oh,
us.
that is weird. Yeah, it
Yes,
wasn't doing
you can
anything.
tell.
It was quiet.
You can tell because the seat paps are moving. as well.
Yeah, no, they weren't moving a while ago when I was like
Yep.
talking. Yeah. That's very odd. I wonder that's a new thing.
So Endo, do you want to give it a shot on the other side?
Yeah, this is easy. I got it. Wait, there's a ladder in my way. Ladder in my
Go
way.
around
What?
Go around the other
Just
side.
go around the right side of it.
Oh,
You'll
okay,
be good.
okay. I thought it was gonna move magically.
That's
You
enough
know, I
room
thought
to
those
turn.
pivots were gonna kick in and like move it. Just saying.
Only in the torpedo room.
This pivots.
Ah, okay.
Only
That's
took-
that's where it's
yes.
at. Okay, I knew there was something around here that moved. All right, so we turn on the cooling, we turn on the air, we turn on the exhaust. Why did you spell exhaust so weird? Is that on purpose?
Did we spell
It says exhaust, not exhaust. There's no T at the end. Fuel pumps.
Oh.
Yep. Gonna have to give you
real-time bug testing.
minus 5 points for that. Okay, so clicked all those on.
Oh,
Now I have to pump it. Pump. Where do you grab the pumps? I never use these things. Wait, what? Oh, there.
there's, center mass of the pump. Yeah, there you go.
Okay, is the light off? Where's the light at?
Yep, lights off.
Okay. Then you put the throttle to 1, right? Right? Is that
Yep.
it? And then we
Yep.
do just the starting air cleanse. We don't touch this lube oil drain thing? Ever?
Nope,
Okay.
you don't have to unless you very
Okay,
much
now-
want to.
Engine is turning over. Now it sounds like it started, so now I shut it down again?
Yeah, close that valve.
Yep,
Okay, is it still moving? It's not.
Yep.
you're good to
Yeah,
go.
okay, let's move it on my screen. Okay, cool. So,
Now,
there
here's
we
the
go.
next very important part.
Important part.
So now we come back here
Alrighty.
and we engage
right
the
there,
generator
yep.
clutches.
Alright, right when you come through
And
the
there's-
door, look to the left, and generator clutch is
And
what you want
behind
to
you,
do.
close
Okay,
the door.
close the
And on
door.
your side, close that door and engage that generator clutch.
Okay, got it.
So with these active, you can now turn on the air compressors, provided you're out of air, because these are shaft-driven air compressors and will not work unless you have the motors running.
Oh.
And where's the air compressors at? Back here?
It's these two small
Right
motors.
here. So see
right
in the middle
here.
here?
Okay, gotcha. So there's 2 of them. Okay.
Yes. Now just turning that key will
Those
start
are
both of them.
activated by the-
Okay. Alright, that makes sense.
But if you only have one engine running, the engine that's running is the side that will work.
The engine that's
because
running
they're-
so that will work. Oh, okay,
Yeah.
gotcha.
Because these are individual shaft-driven, and so if the shaft's not turning, then it's not running.
Alright, so just a recap. So, if you want to get the boat to move, you come over here, you flip all the switches, you pump until the light goes off, you put the throttle up, and then you do the little starting valve until the engine starts, close it back off, but then you have to go farther back, go and set these clutches to fully on both sides, and then, my friends, are we ready to go?
We are ready to go.
All right.
We are ready.
And over here,
So-
you will see on the electrical gauge board
Yep.
that your lights are on for the generators for both sides, and that you're on a float. A battery float means that the submarine is producing more electricity than it's using.
And what about the light that's off the battery? That's off.
The other light will come on if you are no longer running on the generator and the battery is currently draining.
So that would be
Meaning
like
that you're
underwater,
using-
right?
Yes.
Okay. Gotcha.
And up here forward is the forward battery bank isolation, which you can isolate the forward battery bank from the stern.
All
So-
right.
Next up here is what I was getting at earlier, which is the electric throttle. So for this electric throttle here, what you're going to want to do, go up on that, up on that. That's your first speed notch. That's your head slow. And then to engage those motors, all you do, crank clutch 1, crank clutch 2, and now we're underway. Now, if you want to go faster, it's simple from here. You just hit these, and boom. There you go. Same thing goes with reverse. You have the one top right and top left. Those are stop. That is your neutral. And then under those, you have reverse. And those are all activated with these
All right.
little arrow buttons.
So do we only have to crank those once?
Yes.
Yep, you only have to crank them once.
What about when we go in
And if you
reverse?
need-
Do we have to crank them to go in reverse or no?
No.
No. Okay.
Nope.
No.
Just once.
The only time you're going to want to crank those ever again is if you want to completely isolate the props from the motors.
Okay. So what?
You can disengage the props from here.
Oh, okay. So once it's done,
Yes.
you can stop and go and not touch those, right?
Correct.
Yes.
Ah, okay. Got it. Okay. Are we moving?
Yes, we are.
Let's look
Yes, we
outside.
are.
Go up into the bridge.
Ah, look at that. How pretty. A nice job on the paint job too, guys.
I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Wait. Did you
Head
go
up in the
top?
bridge there and Take a look around.
All right. Ah! I hate ladders.
Where did you go?
Back down. Back down again. Ah! I think I'm up. All right, there we go. All right, so we're moving. Headed out into the beautiful open sea, ocean, whatever. And there we go. So, oh my gosh, I think there's an invisible ship that you guys can't see that I can only see. How do we fire the torpedoes at it?
Oh, let's get into the torpedo room and get a solution going.
All right. Oh, well, fell down. Okay.
We should probably get underwater before that ship starts shooting at us, shouldn't we?
Yeah, let's dive the boat.
Dive the boat. Okay, I know how to do this.
Step one.
There's a dive button somewhere. Dive. Where's the dive button? No, that's not how it works.
Well, let's start by putting out the dive planes.
Dive planes.
And
Next, you're going to
Wait, what did you do? What'd you do? I lost it. What'd you do first? What was the first thing you did?
Right over here. In the two planes, you have this button. It says dive planes. You put those out. And
okay.
If you go in third person, you'll be able to see on the front of the boat, there are two little wings that are folded out.
In the front. Okay, those were up or down or backwards? What were they? Flip that switch again so I can
Other
see
one.
it. Go, do it. Did you flip it yet? There it goes. Oh, they go backwards.
There you go.
Okay. Come back out.
Fold back
Okay, so we need to do that. Okay, then what do we do?
Blake, would you like to go grab the engines while I explain the
Sure.
rest of this? Alright, so here you have the Kingston. So we went over the Kingstons a little bit earlier. So to dive, you're going to pull the forward, the main, and the auxiliary. And that gets you to pretty much neutral buoyancy. So wait for those to fill, and then once those are full, indicated here on these little fill level indicators, you can go ahead and close them all. And
Okay.
from there, you go back over here, set your depth. We'll set the periscope depth of 30 feet. So boom, 30. And you just have to put in a solid number, no negatives. And then allow set depth, and there you go. You're
Down we
diving.
go.
We're diving. Okay.
Jump into third person and take a look.
Oh, look at that. Cinematic. Under it goes. So, question for you. Are we flooding the ballast tanks with opening doors, or are we using pumps?
It opens doors.
It opens doors, yes.
Okay.
They're quick floods. Oh, we should probably explain the equalized main ballast tanks,
Yes.
equalized forward ballast
That
tanks.
would be smart.
So
So
the
we can
ballast
go ahead and
tanks
do
on
that.
these boats are separated into two separate banks each, port and starboard. To equalize the volume between, you open these valves down here on the floor. You can see this one's the main ballast tank equalization valve. There's one in the bow.
Take a look at that real quick.
Okay. And this is equalizing left and right sides, right? That's what-
Yes, port and
Yes,
starboard.
indeed.
All right. And what about front to back? Is there something for that?
No.
No.
There's
Okay.
none of that.
Okay.
And then the last one is back here all the way to the
All
stern.
the way in the back of the
Wait,
boat.
how many are there? 3 of them?
Yes, there's
Yep.
three ballast tanks. There's the main ballast tank, the bow, and
Okay. And what are
stern.
these two switches at the end? Port and aft.
Oh, the last two are for your aft ones. So you have the port aft and port starboard. So that's your back left and your back right.
And we don't
And that's just to flood the aft gross ballast
we don't
tanks.
need to use those?
No.
Not unless you're compensating. Say you got you shot all your torpedoes and your front end is now light. You can open those a little bit and equalize the back and get yourself a little bit of water just to level the sub back out.
All right. Okay. Cool. All right. So, we managed to get the engine started. We managed to dive. And okay, wait. Let me go
We
through the
forgot to
dive.
ring the clack. Man, we forgot to.
Oops, you forgot that. That was the
Yes.
step that we missed. But okay, so our first
missed
step
the
was
most
to
important step.
click the dive planes, and then our next one was to flood. Is that the second thing we did?
Yes.
Yes.
So we flooded all the way up until the black one, the auxiliary.
Yep.
And then did they automatically go back, or we had to click them back? We had to
Nope, we have to click them back.
click them back. Now, do they fill to a certain amount, and that's how much they do, or is there like you have to watch it?
No, they'll go full.
Okay,
they'll
they
go
go full. They go full. Okay, and then we had to click the little buttons down at the bottom, in the back, front, and middle, to equalize.
I will say
Okay.
the equalizing is not necessary 100% of the time. Equalizing is just if you want to, say, help
Oh,
get a little bit of water
I know
in
what
or
I
a little bit of
forgot.
water
I
out
forgot to
both
set the
sides.
depth, didn't I?
Set the depth and then ring the bell. Two Claxton like this means to dive, and 3 would be to surface.
Gotcha.
That would be code for
Okay,
that.
so 2 to dive, 3 to surface. Unless you're playing by yourself, no one's going to get mad at you. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Okay,
Yes.
so we're going to run to the torpedo room. So we would have somebody on the periscope, I assume, and a dude back here.
Yes.
And
Actually, I think we're forgetting a step.
what? What?
What? How do we know where this boat is? We have to look at it through the hydrophone, don't we? Or hear it through the hydrophone, rather.
Ah, okay. That's true. Now that we dove, whose idea was that to dive? Just okay. So what did you change here that's different?
Okay, so to start off, you're going to need to add power to the hydrophone.
Oh,
So now
that was
the
hard to
hydrophone
see.
is
Not
on.
gonna lie, Blake, that was hard to see.
Oh, sorry.
I didn't see the clicker.
Yeah.
I would have never turned that on if I was by myself.
Well, that's the reason we're making the video.
I'm telling you, I need a blinking light there. Look here.
So the hydrophone power is now on.
Okay.
You can adjust the gain on this side, and on the other side, you can adjust the rotation speed.
Okay. Slow rotation. Okay. And then we just rotate with this.
Yes.
Wait, was that on fast or slow? That seemed fast. Oh, that's slow. Okay. So default is slow.
Yes.
And then we
Yep.
can reverse it. And
Yes.
it'll swing back the other way. Okay. Cool.
And that'll go, there's a button, or right up in your top left, there's a thing that says audible signal. When that lights up red, you found a signal and you can hear an enemy ship or an enemy
well,
submarine.
one is selling there.
And we'll also give you a range.
Now, there's one thing I would like to add before we continue as well.
Mhm.
So you'll notice that the bearing for the hydrophone, you have the audible bearing here. Now that bearing is what's called relative bearing. That's relative to the submarine. So when you see relative bearing on there, someone will say out, hey, there's a enemy, or a target rather, at bearing 045, and whoever's on your periscope will be like, okay, relative bearing 045. Now, there is relative bearing on this periscope as well. Top left, you'll see it says relative bearing. See that?
Yes. Gotcha.
That's your periscope's relative bearing to the ship. So if you've got an enemy at 045, you want to point it to where the relative bearing says 045. That will be pointing in the direction of your target. Now, on the periscope, you'll see there's a number. Right now it says 098. That is your actual bearing. That's your true compass bearing. So when communicating with the captain or whoever's at the rudder, since they have compass bearing, you can say, hey, there's an enemy true bearing 045 or 097, and then the captain up here on the rudder can switch the ship's bearing to 097 as well. So it's just like a little bit of translation there that you have to go through, but luckily the everything kind of lies on the guy operating the periscope there.
All right. Cool. Good stuff. Good stuff. Now we're back
Now
with Blake.
we're ready for the fun part.
All right, Blake.
All right, so let's start by opening the tube doors. So you've got tube 2 and tube 4 on this side, and tube 1 and tube 3 on this side. That's how they lay them out in real life. Yes, I realize that might be confusing to some.
Wait, what? One is on the right?
Yes, odds and evens,
Interesting.
port and starboard. Yeah. So you can see that these blue lights are on, meaning that these top 2 tubes are open. You can see down here that they are flooded. So the next step would be to fire them. So firing tube 2.
Oh, to note before that, you don't want to be at full ahead for that. You want to be at most notch 2 green. So
Oh,
basically what I just
gotcha.
did back here is I took the throttle down.
Yeah, you're
Yeah,
going
just to
pretty
get it slowed
fast.
down.
What is the top speed of this thing?
Under
Speed is 15 to 16 knots, what I
Okay.
found,
Cool.
underwater.
All right, so
Looks like
that's
that one
empty,
fired.
right?
that one is empty, yes. And so to reload, you would close the tube, unclick
Crank
the
it again and
firing
it closes
button,
it.
And then up here, you'll see on the ceiling here, there's a drain tube.
Okay. There it is.
This is going to drain the tube into the forward trim tank.
Oh, really?
So
Okay, that's
yes.
smart.
So
Here's something.
in later models of submarines, they have what you call a WRT tank, or a water round tank, for the torpedoes. And these older model submarines, they flooded straight into the forward trim tank. So to get water, you'll only be able to pump down about 16,000 liters of water before you have to do something with the water in forward trim. We'll get to that later. Right now, we'll just show you the reloading procedure. So those drain rather quickly, so you can turn off the drain, open the tube, and as you can see, this is ready for a reload.
Okay.
So to reload, we'll grab a rope here from the overhead.
Okay.
We'll attach that to the small winch here, forward of the ladder.
Okay.
We'll attach that to the torpedo.
Gotcha.
We'll come back here to the aft, and we're going to turn off the top brakes because we want to keep these torpedoes where they are. We use a brake system to keep them from moving around when the seas get choppy. So we turn those off.
Okay.
We come over here, and we can crank these in.
Give that a crank. Now, a little tip. I do have a little tip for the next process coming up, but I'll wait till we have this in place and everything, and I can. Well, actually, you'll probably be able to see it in action.
So now, the torpedo is locked outboard. We can remove the rope, put it on the next one.
Okay.
And so, because there's two sliding tracks here, they are both locked on. So we have to disengage the outboard track. So over here, you're going to see the upper outboard connector. We're going to remove that, and you're going to see the torpedo slide back a bit on the main track. That means it's ready to load. I'm going to come down here,
Uh-huh.
and I'm going to crank this forward. And you're going to see the torpedo slide into the tube. And we have now reloaded the top tube. That'll reset itself back to where it was, and that is how you reload the top tubes. The procedure is exactly the same. Keep in mind,
Yes.
you will not be able to successfully reload these easily if you are traveling at high speed.
Right.
Because that becomes incredibly difficult. So we recommend you slow down to all ahead slow to get a smooth reload like the one I just showed you.
Okay. Cool.
And another little tip here, in case something, say, it doesn't want to go in all the way, you can always angle the bow of the submarine down. Just put yourself in a little bit deeper of a depth, so the bow goes down, and the submarine or the torpedo will just slide into the tube there.
Gotcha.
And of course,
okay.
draining the tubes into the forward trim tank help with that.
Yes.
Okay. Pretty cool. So, how did that slide over? I'm curious. Okay, so it's sitting on... What is it sitting on?
So you can see this center track right here.
Okay. Okay. So there's a track that goes from left to right, right?
Yes, that is the only thing holding this aloft.
And that's an unpowered track, right? That's what I'm looking at.
Correct.
Okay, so it slides over. And then how does it swap to the new track?
You disengage this track, so your release track connector will be true.
Ah, okay, I gotcha.
And then this long track will hold it up because there's slide connectors.
Okay,
on the
I
front
got
and
it.
back.
That's clever. Okay, so who came up with this?
I did.
Really? How
That
hard
was all
was it?
Blake.
Was it difficult?
It took a lot of practice and trial and error.
Oh.
And yes, it was very difficult,
That-
but I got it working, and it was
Yeah,
it
that's
was worth it.
very clever. I haven't seen this before. This is a different way to do it. Yeah. The early submarines, boy, people had some trouble trying to get this torpedoes to move around. But it looks like you did a really good job. Nice job, Blake.
I tried to make it authentic as I could.
Yeah. Is this a ladder that moves?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
So
Yes,
you'll
it
see
is.
you'll see behind you here. There's a hatch in the overhead here.
Yeah.
It's a long hatch. That's the weapon shipping hatch. And yes, if anyone's curious, if you had reloads of these torpedoes, you could feed them through the hatch here and they would load into place.
Oh, wow.
Moving the ladder makes this a little easier, but that's only for your die-hard role players.
Yes.
But
Believe
I'm
it or
a
not,
die-hard role player.
we actually did have a guy already asking about this in the workshop page, so that's a cool little note that people do use this kind of stuff.
All right.
And I have done reloads on this myself, and they do work. I
Wait,
can vouch for
were
it.
these beds already here? These beds were here, huh?
Yeah, they were.
Yep, they're just hidden underneath the torpedoes.
Nice. I didn't even notice. All of a sudden, they were just magically there. Wow. That's cool. A lot of
Yet more
details.
detail.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
And there's another.
All right.
You guys, there's another T2 box that has, yep, more switches on it. Very
That's
nice.
correct.
Very
And
cool.
there's 2 more back here behind these torpedoes.
All right, and they're all connected. Wow. To that circuit board, or whatever you want to call it, that logic
Yeah,
board.
and there's
Yep.
P1 right there next to the
Victor
weapons.
board.
Very cool.
Board.
All right. So, what are the finishing touches you want to show us?
All right, well, now that we've been underwater and we've drained some water into the forward torpedo tubes, you can see over here that you've got auxiliary forward, auxiliary to aft. These would be your trim. This is your trim manifold. So we can pump the forward trim tank to the auxiliary tank and drain that over here by blowing the ox tank
Okay. Why are we doing this?
to get to make room for more water in the
Ah, okay.
forward
Gotcha.
auxiliary.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yes. Now, when blowing the water out, you have to make sure to keep a good eye on your air bank pressure up there.
You can see that the air bank pressure is going down as this is on.
Okay. Yeah.
We're losing PSI, which is important for what we want to do next.
Really? In Stormworks, we
So-
just usually lose FPS, not PSI.
All right.
FPS.
So now that all of the main ballast tanks are closed, we can blow the air out of the tanks by pushing blow all, or if you want to, you can blow them one compartment at a time, the rest of this manifold,
Okay.
depending on how
are we starting
you
to go
want
up?
do with your sub. We should be, yes.
Our front end is still kind of pointed downwards, and our back end is going up.
Because I will set this to 0. There we go. Now everything will come up.
Oh, did we not set our depth? Is that why I did it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we were gaining buoyancy, but we were still trying to maintain 30 feet.
Ah, okay.
Now
So,
that we're
so
on the topic of depth,
feature request. Why don't you
Yes.
connect that blow all to a switch that sets it to 0 automatically? Ooh, feature request.
It's kind of an interesting idea.
I don't know. I like to do feature
It is.
request. It's my thing.
We'll see how,
Those that cannot do feature request. That's my motto.
Oh,
Yeah.
I've got a little tidbit here. If someone wants to see a cool feature, bring this thing down to about 170 feet and wait for about a minute and see what happens.
Oh, I'm not. Don't do it. Don't do it. I want people to try that. I know what happens.
not 170, 270.
270. Okay. So find some deep water and give that a try.
So I said,
You guys. Yeah. Don't do it. Don't do it here because people have to have something to experience all by themselves.
yes.
And that's
crushed up.
no. Don't spoil it. Ugh.
Don't tell them. They're not supposed
Seriously. And it has like special effects. So, guys, if you haven't done so already, use the link in the description. Download the sub. You know how to start it now. You know how to fire the torpedoes. You know how to do all that. Then take it down to the depths and see what happens when the sub has issues with,
Oh,
water pressure.
I have one more thing I've got to show you.
All right, Blake.
So, on the topic of PSI, you saw that we were draining. So you're probably going to wonder how do we recharge that air bank. Well, for that, we're going
Yes,
to need to
this is
start the
important.
engines again.
Okay. So all the switches are already
Hold on.
flipped. So I have to come down here and do the closed air thing?
Yeah.
Again, we're forgetting something. Hold on. Before you do that, you have
Go
to
disengage the.
disengage these.
Oh, to get it started again, you have to disengage
Yep.
the clutch? Okay. Oh, sorry. I was like, why'd
And
you
once
shut the
it
door on
starts,
me?
You can
Got it.
re-engage it. Don't worry, you're not in.
All right, so in order to
See, now
start
that
the
we got started
engines,
again?
the clutch has to be disengaged, right?
Right.
All right,
Yes.
gotcha. Then you
Otherwise, it'll just.
and then you come down here and I flip the switch. Air compressor.
Yep,
Oh
flip
my
the
god, that
switch.
takes forever. And then a piston's going off up and down. Do I leave it on?
Yeah, those are the air compressor. You can see the PSI raising in the.
Okay, there we go.
Yep.
And that
And
will
it will
charge at
automatically-
3,000 PSI and then turn itself off.
Yes, they
Yeah,
automatically
those-
shut themselves off.
Oh, it'll shut.
Those,
The key will shut off.
yeah.
Yep.
Oh,
And keep in mind that that only works while you're surfaced and while the engines are running.
Yeah.
Because they are shaft-driven compressors, so they wouldn't work without it.
okay.
And that's that.
And it takes a bit to load, huh? We're only on 800 almost. Okay.
Yeah, it's a slow charge. But that makes you want to conserve your air.
And how?
And if you don't want to
Yes.
use air to empty your tanks, if you're on the surface, you can come and use a low-pressure blower. It's a little slower than compressed air, but this will take care of the excess water in the tanks.
Oh, to raise. Okay, okay.
Keep in mind there are isolations for those. You can isolate the forward ballast tanks. You can isolate the stern ballast tanks. You cannot isolate the main. And you can isolate the trim down here.
Wait, what? Down there?
Yeah,
Down there?
yeah. So you'll see up here this valve. That's the ox low pressure air isolation for the ox tank.
Oh, that's cool. Battery water reserve. What does that mean?
So these they would have to do gravities and water levels on the batteries when they were doing the charging, and that would be your distilled water reserve for battery water. Not something that's real, but we like to include
Oh, okay, okay, okay. All right. So it's
it.
like,
Yeah.
yeah. Role playing. Got it.
A cool little extra there.
Oops.
Those who've done a battery charge know. For all my submarine guys who are watching this.
Can't get out.
You're stuck.
Of course, on a nuclear sub, we don't need a tank like that.
Let me out.
There, Endo.
I
There
jumped.
you go.
All right. So how long did it take to build this, by the way?
Oh,
So,
well, the original I can't
we'll
vouch
start with
for.
the original. So the original, the hull and everything was originally built by me, and I'm going to leave that on the workshop. If you want to, you can check it out, but I will say it's amateur compared to this. So the original one took me about a month to build, and then I'd say 3 months after building that, Blake actually came into my my Steam and he messaged me saying, "Hey, I've got a few things I want to show you. I've done some upgrades." And he mentioned the air system, so obviously I was interested. I wanted to see what he did to the sub I spent that long building. And then from there, we started talking about the sub and everything, and it just... Blake, would you like to take it from there?
Well, I'm an attention to detail guy, and I had a lot of details I wanted to add.
had as well.
Yeah, and it was a
Yes,
beautiful
so-
boat. I saw the potential in it, and I said we should work to make this as great as it can be, and this is what we've gotten to so far.
Yeah. No, I'm on the outside right now looking at it, and it is a beautiful submarine. Beautiful.
Thank you.
Feels like it's right out of a modern game, not Stormworks block game. It looks great.
Thank you.
So, what you call it? What is the configuration? This is like a 1945 configuration, or what?
1943. So there was a lot of changes between when this submarine was finished in 1918 and then its retirement and scrapping in 1946. So they mainly underwent one main overhaul, and that was in, when was it? 1940.
Depends on the model.
Yeah,
These,
well,
a lot
this
of these,
one
a lot of these were laid up in a mothball fleet after the 20s, and they were pulled out. Only 4 of them stayed out of the reserve fleet mothball. So when the war happened and started, they pulled all of these out of reserve and gave them a nice overhaul. And unfortunately, one was lost during the war. It is one of the 52 lost subs, and they added a lot of modern features, alarm systems, escape hatches, buoys, creature comforts like the bathroom you see in the forward battery room. Not all of that came with the boat originally. They did a lot of changes to the
Yes.
hull, They did, and you have to remember that these were riveted together originally. These were not welded together. These are really old
Yes.
submarines.
Gotcha. Wow.
You know.
I actually recall reading stories about this where guys would be in here and they'd just see a rivet-sized hole of water coming through and they'd have to patch it up.
So this submarine didn't have a name like the Porpoise or the Shark Fin or anything like that?
It did not. However, there were some R boats that did have names like that. We could not find anything for R20, and in fact, there's a lot of these R boats that didn't have names, fish names like porpoise or anything that you mentioned. But there were some, but not for this particular boat.
All right, so that's why it's just a number for the name. Interesting. Okay. Very cool. All right, so I guess we're going to wrap this up. The links are in the description to the submarine. And you can find Blake and Gabe on my server. And what other Discords are you on?
Just about all of them. Except Subworks, ironically.
Yeah,
You're not on Subworks?
yeah, we're both not in Subworks.
Interesting.
I
Okay.
am on a server called Engineers of Stormworks, EOS. So
All right.
other than that, I'm only in your servers and EOS, basically.
All right, cool. And it might be worth noting that Blake did refine this for multiplayer. So you'll be seeing this in a sub hunt in the future at some point. We tried.
That's correct.
We actually tried. It just
Yeah.
didn't work.
Well, we did good, but
Yeah.
you'll be able to hear actual operation and nomenclature for everything.
So-
It'll be pretty neat.
Very cool. So is there anything you want to add? Like, are you working on any other new submarines right now or anything like that?
We are so burnt out.
Okay,
And
just checking.
Gabe's
Oh,
joining
yeah.
the Navy, so he's going away from us
Yes.
soon.
Oh, okay. All
Come
right.
July, I won't be able to work on this cool stuff.
And do you know, are you going to be on a sub or a boat, you know? Or a ship?
He's
Nah,
going
I'm gonna
to
be. He's gonna make fun of me.
He's
I'm
going to
gonna
it. He's going to go
surface
be a
man.
target.
What is that?
I'm gonna go be a target.
What is a
A
target?
surface ship.
A target is anything that's not a submarine.
Ah, okay. Gotcha. Okay. Cool. Well, thanks for
Yes.
joining me, guys. Yeah, great submarine. A lot of detail, a lot of role-playing potential. If you love submarines, this is like one that you need to download. Especially, I don't like the modern ones. Sorry, guys. I'm not in the modern ones. This is my speed. World War II. You know, torpedoes loaded by hand. Somebody that stinks next to me in a bunk. Yeah, I like this sub. All right, Blake.
Thank you.
Gabe, say goodbye.
Yeah. Goodbye, everybody, and I hope you enjoy the sub.
All right.
Enjoy.
And again, leave comments and anything that you have questions about on their workshop page. Again, link in the description. All right, that's it for today, and we will see you next time.